I'm Derek Joyce and I'm here with Paul O'Murda, and this is I'm Not the Expert, but this is a podcast where we'll discuss everything from the most complex ideas that we know nothing about to the simplest ideas that we probably know nothing about either. So put the kettle on, get comfy and join us. Okay, are you superstitious?
Not particularly. I do have a few little quirky ones there, but nothing, not majorly superstitious. No.
Would you open an umbrella indoors?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody who wouldn't?
Yeah, oh yeah. My partner is massively superstitious.
Does she know why?
No.
Okay, I'm asking a lot of questions here. I was looking into superstitions because, like you, I know an awful lot of people who won't open umbrellas indoors. But on a day where they come in and it's pissing rain outside, there's always an army of umbrellas in the corner, opened upside down so they can drip dry.
Right. Opened? Okay.
Just so they don't sit there all day and at the end of the day smell damp. You know that damp mildewy smell? Don't smell like that. So they're opened and they're upturned and they're in the corner. So it's still an umbrella open indoors, and nobody thinks twice about that.
Yeah.
But where not opening umbrellas indoors comes into play is 18th century. It's long before that, but I'll get to it. In the 18th century, umbrellas were so unwieldy and so big. And not
they
the
were
simple,
like what we have now as golf umbrellas, I suppose.
Yeah, not the simple mechanisms that they are now. No. They were big, unwieldy things. And you put one up indoors and you're going to knock the shit out of everything within 12 feet.
And all the fine china and stuff that would have been on shelves.
And they were mad about their possessions.
Yeah.
The more possessions you had, the better you were, the more noble you were, the richer you were, that kind of crack.
You didn't want any of your stuff getting broken,
So it was hazardous to open. And it'll take somebody's diet. How many times have you been walking down the street, and we're outdoors now with umbrellas, have you been walking down the street and somebody smaller than you walks past you holding an umbrella and they'll nearly take your eye out?
They don't even see you, like. Because they've got no peripheral vision under there, like. Oh,
it's not. So I'm not complaining about them, but it does happen.
I'm not the type of person that ever really uses an umbrella. I'd never even think of it. Like, I'd often go to watch bloody bows or whatever, and I know it's uncovered. I know there's a fair chance it's going to rain. Yeah. And it's not until it absolutely buckets down that I think, shit, I should have brought an umbrella. When I'm out on shoots, we'd have an umbrella. Right. And I'd be standing at the camera because you don't want to get it on the lens. Oh, of course.
You know, that kind of way.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't always work, but, and there's lots of photographers I know have mastered the art of holding onto an umbrella and taking pictures. Perfectly composed pictures. Like there's one girl I'm thinking of and she's a fantastic photographer. But I can see her. I worked doing a bike fest years ago and it pissed rained. And it wasn't like, oh no, it's starting to rain. It was torrential within seconds. Yeah. And it only lasted for a couple of minutes. You know that kind of rain shower?
It utterly soaks everybody.
But her umbrella was up like shot. She didn't get wet one bit. And she was taking brilliant photographs holding on to her umbrella. I don't know how she did it, but it was rain. But anyway, it's difficult to pinpoint when umbrellas were invented. Okay. But in 1200 BC, and there's BC, there's artwork, Egyptian artwork, depicted on walls that's been dated back to 1200 BC. Not even hieroglyphics, like it's not saying stuff, it's not information. It's
actual works of art.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's nobility, and they're holding and standing in the shadow of what appears to be an umbrella. And it's not protection from rain.
Right, and is that like an umbrella as we know it today? Like, or...
It's a triangular thing on a pole that they're holding. Someone's holding above them. That's a fucking.
I can actually picture now what you're talking about.
So whatever it was or it was made of at the time, it's fundamentally an umbrella. Yeah. And it was used for protection from the sun.
Yeah, no, because what I was thinking there, like when you were talking about that, like protection from the sun, I was asking, is it an umbrella? The reason I asked you that, I was thinking back now, and I know it's Hollywood, it's not the real thing anyway. Yeah. They were always fair. Going back to films like the Ten Commandments, and things like that. The pharaoh, and they would always hold ostrich feathers over his head.
Yeah. Well, the peacock.
Peacock feathers.
Yeah.
Yes. And they'd be holding those over his head to kind
Well,
of shade.
and it was very rarely that the nobility or the pharaoh or whoever it was, the priestess or whoever it might be, held it themselves.
No,
it was
yeah,
always the
slaves,
servants to do it for them. A version of the superstition says that opening an umbrella indoors angered the god Ra.
Okay.
And I don't see why he was so pissy at about an umbrella being opened indoors.
Probably because he didn't exist then.
But he did to them. Why he'd be so pissy about an umbrella being open indoors when it was doing the same thing as it would outdoors? They'd still be standing in the shadow and not getting his sun's rays. So I don't know, but anyway, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
And if a slave or somebody who wasn't of noble birth or divine birth, like pharaohs or stuff like that, used an umbrella, and again they wear peacock feathered umbrellas, like it wasn't. It was for shade rather than for functional rain purposes.
In the Nile Delta, you don't get a lot of rain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was punishable. It was a capital crime. A capital crime for somebody who wasn't noble to make use of an umbrella.
Wow.
So yeah, it was all nuts, and that
True
just
and
goes
unusual.
back. That's your starting point of all the class bullshit that we. Except anybody can now use an umbrella, so at least we've moved on a bit.
Yeah, they can have an umbrella over their head, but not a roof.
Yeah.
You know, that's where we are now, isn't it?
Isn't it fucking wonderful?
Probably shouldn't get into it on this part.
But knock on wood. Have you heard that one? Have you ever heard that one?
Of course.
Do you know where it comes from?
I'm knocking on my head here, guys, for anyone not.
So, and everybody says knock on wood or touch wood. I hope.
I hope something happens,
I hope something doesn't happen. Or I hope that doesn't happen. Or I hope something good does happen.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, and they'll rap on the nearest wood. And if there's no wood near, they rap on their heads. Yeah, do you know where that came from?
No.
That came from Indo-European Celts, and possibly earlier.
What, back up?
Indo-European
Celts.
Celts.
Are we talking Indians who migrated into Europe?
Not.
Well,
the Indonesian area.
Into Europe?
Well, the whole thing was migrated across. Ethiopia is the cradle of humanity.
Yeah, true.
You know, so everybody migrated.
We all walked out of the desert.
Yep.
At some stage. Yeah.
So it comes from, and the Celts are widespread across Europe and as far as Scotland.
Yeah, it's always very much associated with ourselves, Scotland, Wales.
Yeah, well,
but no, they're like, I said something there not long ago actually. It was probably popped up on Facebook or one of those things, and it suggested that the Celts weren't white.
Well, if it's Indo-European, then they certainly weren't.
Dark skinned, which is like you don't think of that, and you look at it, the likes of Jim Fitzpatrick's artwork. I love Jim Fitzpatrick's artwork. If anyone's familiar with Jim Fitzpatrick's work, he's the guy who created the Che Guevara image that we've seen everywhere. But aside from that, he's done a wonderful series of Celtic paintings over the course of decades. Hundreds of these paintings, and they're absolutely fantastic if you have a look. He actually also done all of Tin Lizzy's album artworks.
Did he?
And he designed Phil Lynnett's headstone.
I think I can see his artwork in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of any of them, but I'm sure.
You see him on my Facebook. He's on my friends list on Facebook, so have a look at him. I'm sure I follow him on Twitter. I discovered him actually. I was in Bank of Ireland years ago, and they sent us out a calendar every year.
Yeah.
And one year it was a calendar of his artwork. Beautiful Celtic artwork, gorgeous, So that's how I got into that.
Where were we?
We were on.
What are we talking about?
The Celts being from Indo-Europe.
Oh yeah, the knock on wood. Okay, no, you're grand. So the Indo-European Celts, and possibly earlier, believed that spirits dwelled within the trees.
Yeah.
And Mother Nature, that's the fundamental thing. But they would knock on wood, knock on the tree, or touch the tree to invoke the spirit. for protection or to
I love
not
that.
anger it. Yeah, this is like my favourite superstition. I'm
this
not
is me,
superstitious
I'm
at all,
not,
but
I'm
yeah,
very much into that kind of Celtic
yeah.
stuff.
But
you
to
know?
invoke the spirit's protection.
Yeah.
So
Class.
that's now my favourite superstition.
Use the force.
Yeah, knock on wood.
I love it. Absolutely. I'm having that.
Christians believed it was more to do with the wood used in Christ's cross.
Oh, because they rubbed everything.
Crucifixion. We said it in the last podcast.
Yeah, and
whatever the fucking Christians want, the fucking Christians get.
Yes.
Yeah.
At
so
the point of a
and
sword if needs be.
yeah, well, there you go. But the fact that they believe it's more to do with Christ's crucifixion dates the superstition to 2,000 years ago ish.
It's just
And
well, certainly no earlier than that.
yeah,
Probably a lot later than that.
which makes it really flimsy, and as a superstition, it's got a veneer on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know that cheap
it's completely
fucking veneer
contrived,
chipwood bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm not having that. Knock on wood.
I love the Celtic version.
It's Celtic version.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the
Love
part
that.
I'm sticking
So
to.
many of us Christians, I was baptized Christian. I'm not.
Yeah, I was born and raised Roman Catholic.
Yeah, exactly. So many of us, and so many of the traditions that we were brought up in, have been stolen piecemeal from paganism, from Celtic mythology. That's a whole podcast in itself. I think it is what we're going to do.
I want to talk to you about holidays. I know we've done
Yeah.
April Fools in the last one, but I
Yeah.
want to talk to you about holidays, and that will get into the whole Christian
because that's
Catholic
what I'm chomping at the bit to get into
preamble
that one.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Christians believe that it was more to do with Christ's cross. We don't believe that, and nor do you.
No. It's the force.
And you will recognize this. There are others believe that it's dating it to very recently, which has a flimsy aspect to it that I don't like. But they say it was more to do with a 19th century chasing game that kids used to play.
Okay.
And you probably played when you were a kid, because I know I played a version of it.
Right, go on.
That when you're touching a tree, you're safe.
Yeah, okay.
Remember that touch the lamppost thing? Yeah. So you used to have to
or-
run around, you get somebody's, hopefully the girl you like, chasing you, and you accidentally,
I never got the
look
girl
at me.
chasing me, Jesus.
Yeah. But so they dated it to that, which I think is a nice one as well, but it's still too new for me. I'm still going with the Celtic.
Yeah, no, I love the Celtic origins of that. And I know I was half joking earlier on saying the Force, right? Star Wars. As I said back in the very first episode, Del, I'm going to keep bringing Star Wars.
As he said in every episode.
No, I think we got through last week without mentioning Star Wars. But the origins of the Force, as a mythical force, like within the fictional Star Wars universe, George Lucas's inspiration, if you want to call it, is very much from that kind of pagan earth force, life force,
spirits and trees
stuff.
kind of thing. Yeah, he made an absolute bollocks of that when he made them out to be fucking midi-chlorians.
Oh my God! Yeah, the scientific expert. No,
Jesus
but come here.
Christ.
No, I'm going to fix that for you right now. I'm going to heal your troubled mind, Del. Midichlorians are misunderstood. Midichlorians, the little, whatever you call them, microbia, right, are attracted to the force. They don't cause the force. They don't make the force. They don't make you any more powerful in the force. They're attracted to the force. So someone who's powerful in the force will have more of them because they're attracted to it. So that's how they're able to use midichlorians to determine how powerful Anakin is in the force. So it's not the midichlorians that are giving
read
him the force.
The Northern Lights?
Yes.
That's the exact same thing.
Yeah, dust.
Yeah.
It's yes.
There's no original stories anymore.
No, as I told you,
exact same thing. Yeah.
Go read Joseph Campbell. Go read him. We've been telling the same story since the dawn of man, since we crawled out of our caves. We've been telling the same story.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing that there's nothing new.
And over
just
again.
iteration after iteration after iteration.
The characters change. The names of the characters change. The events, the true line
Just all stays
It's
the
the
same.
same thing over and over. We've only told about 6 stories in the whole history of humanity.
Yep. And only 3 of them are good.
And there's another podcast. I tell you, we're really flying today. We're going to go away with about like 6 more episodes.
I've a list as long as my arm.
Yeah.
But let me get back to...
Sorry, I pulled
You're
you way
grand.
off
For
there.
the second time, I'm counting them. Okay, so knock on wood. Turkish people sometimes tug an earlobe.
Yeah.
As well as
I've
knocking on wood.
seen that,
To kind of double up on not tempting fate. And I've seen it, like, it's not Turkish people. I've seen people do it. Touch wood, tug an earlobe, kind of thing. Yeah, it's... So all these little quirks that people have are superstitions, even if they don't think they're superstitions.
You don't even realise they're superstitions. Yeah,
which is weird.
Yeah, well, maybe I am a bit superstitious then, because
Italians...
I do knock on wood.
Italians say touch iron as opposed to touch wood. Okay. Apparently. I'm not Italian. I don't know an Italian person.
And
they
Italians
haven't
out
confirmed
there,
it to me.
Verify it on our Facebook and let us know whether we're right about this or not.
Some, and I want to get on to the fear of the number 13 in a while, but some Italians feared the number 17.
17?
17. It seems like such an arbitrary number.
But
14. In Roman numerals, well, you see, 13, I'll get to 13, and it's actually, I don't believe in fearing the number 13 or
no, I don't so.
Friday the 13th, right? That bullshit. But it's grounded in, not, I won't say fact.
But it's...
in events. It's grounded in events. And I suppose it is fact. Something that did happen. But anyway, I'll get there.
Yeah,
but in Roman numerals, we're on 17. In Roman numerals, XVII, which is 17, can be rearranged to create VIXI, which means my life has ended. Or I have lived. Which is a past tense.
Is kind of a nice
but it's really,
but it is past tense though. I have lived. Yeah.
It's very tenuous. Ooh. You know, so
it's contrived alright though, isn't it? You have to go all that effort like.
I'm not sure.
But
okay, so fear of the number 13.
Right, yeah. Before you get into that, can I just give you something that ties in with this, and then you can go with it, right?
Okay, yeah.
Well, the only superstition I would say that I genuinely have and don't even know why is magpies, right? And you know the whole thing: 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for girl, 4 for boy, blah blah blah.
So if you see 1,
I'll always make it fly. My mother always said 1 in flight is worth 2 in sight. So if you make it fly,
if you make it fly, if you chase it off, yeah, let me tell you about magpies, buddy.
So I always, anytime I see one on its own, I'm always stamping my feet or clapping my hands. Make them fly.
They're like crows. They fucking know. They'll take that into account and say, see that fucker there?
Well, that is bad luck then.
Like they will. Yeah. So they're mischievous, malicious
but anyway,
bastards.
Right, I was looking up to see what the origin of that was. Because I knew you were going to talk about superstition today. This is literally the only superstition that I really knowledgeably have. But there is no backstory. It's just a kid's nursery rhyme from God knows where. They don't even seem to know when it's originated, right? But interestingly, in Lancashire, in the UK, it doesn't end at... where does everyone end? 7, isn't it?
1 for sorrow.
7 for story never to be told.
Yeah.
The Lancashire version continues.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
8 for a wish, 9 for a kiss, 10 a surprise you should be careful not to miss, 11 for health, 12 for wealth, and 13 beware, it's the devil himself.
See, that's fucking 13 again.
Yeah.
And the 13 thing, I'll circle back to about why. So, if you see a magpie, will you look for a second one?
No, see, it's my understanding of it, and now I could be completely wrong. It's just since I was a small child, we had to see 2 together. They had to be within your field of view. You had to be seeing both magpies at the same time. That's 2.
Okay.
If you see one on its own, it's not like you can just wait and see where's the next one. You have to see both of them in your field of view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the thing is as well, I don't subscribe to that. to any superstitions.
No, I do that one for some random reason, don't know why.
Never have, but it's very rare. I think it's very rare to see one magpie on its own.
Yeah, and
because
that's why it's sort
they're
of,
always they mate,
pairs,
you know. So they're in pairs. So you'll see two.
You
might see three. You might see three, and that's another male trying to move in on the female.
Is that what it is?
That must be.
Well, yeah, okay. No, because at the end of my road, like when I'm walking down here, right, from the house, it used to be a forest. That was all knocked down there.
Yeah,
out there, but there's a whole bunch of magpies on that, like always on the path there.
I wonder what you call them.
I'm talking 7, 8, 9.
I'd say you don't call them a bunch.
No, there's.
Like it's a murder of crows.
I was just going to say that, and a magpie is a crow.
Yeah.
So it's probably a murder of magpies.
Are they?
Yeah, that was something I did discover.
Okay.
They're actually crows, yeah. And,
so they're corvid.
Yeah, and do you know where the band Counting Crows gets its name from?
Counting Crows.
That rhyme? No,
yeah.
one for sorrow.
Oh, for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. And that's how I discovered that a magpie is actually a crow. Yeah.
It's of the crow family, which is corvid.
Yeah. Yes.
The corvid family. Yeah. I love crows. Crows are, I love them. They're so intelligent. They're brilliant. Yeah. So smart.
There's a fella sits on top of the awning outside the red entrance of the shopping centre. And he's watching everybody going by.
That's what I mean about if you...
Everyone's all walking in.
But that's telling people. That's telling his flock that his murder. But any around, like, if he sees a threat, crows remember. Like, it's been proven that crows remember who did bad to them. So if you're clapping your hands to get rid of a magpie, it's gonna remember. And there's this. I was reading this article about pylons, electrical pylons. There was in Japan, they were all full of nests, and when the maintenance workers would have to come on, they'd have to climb up, and all these nests were in the way, and they cleared them all out. This one year they cleared them all out, and they were like, fucking crows, get rid of them. Cleared them all out. The crows not only rebuilt their nests, they built more nests that they didn't use.
Right, to have kind of...
fuck you, buddy.
Well, that or decoys, so that if they were removed, they were,
Well, either way, they're smart, they're clever, and they will get their revenge. So I think they're great. Anyway, fear of the number 13, which is called triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia. And I've known that since I was 12 years old.
No way. Because you were terrified of the number 13.
No, I wasn't at all, but I wonder what it's called. Because I think I said in a previous podcast about my mum and dad took us to see Ghostbusters in 1984 when it came out.
Right.
And the card that they used to get places was called Ecto 1.
Yeah.
And she came out of the cinema wondering why and suspecting why it was called Ecto 1.
Yeah.
And she looked it up in the dictionary because in 1994 we didn't have
the internet
at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's the residue left from...
Ectoplasm.
Yeah, ectoplasm. Yeah. So that always stuck with me. So when I heard fear of the number 13, I was like, I wonder what that's called. And I looked it up when I was a kid.
Pretty sure that's actually revealed in the movie.
What?
Ectoplasm. What it is.
Yeah, but the association with the license plate and ectoplasm was never made in the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious though, isn't it?
It probably is now, but when you're 12 years old.
Yeah, no.
But so I looked up number 13 and it was triskaidekaphobia, and I was like, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life.
And you did?
And I did.
Class.
So 10% of the US fear the number 13.
Right, okay.
Even more, and now this is not saying nothing about people in the US.
No.
But it was an article written about statistics that were made from asking Americans fears and superstitions. So 10% of the US feared the number 13. Even more fear Friday the 13th. And I just want to throw in there, when I lived in Meath, me and a bunch of my friends, me and one of my neighbours, she's cool, she's sound, created this group and it was called the Friday the 13th crew. And we went out every Friday the 13th. Like, we didn't meet on Thursday the 12th or Friday the 14th. Yeah. It had to be a Friday the 13th. Cool. And we'd go out and have drinks. And it was purely because of the irrationality of fearing Friday the 13th. That we said, fuck it, we're going to do this. Yeah, and we went and we did it. And the amount of times that the pub was empty on Friday the 13th, just from people not going out. And maybe they didn't want to go out on Friday night, but...
Well, our eldest was born on Friday the 13th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's a claim.
That's, yeah. But, and I always found a very lucky day. Well, I mean, not so much recently, but I remember, like, you know, in the early 20s, I'd always seem to find money or come into money on Friday the 13th. So many years in a row, like, where it might only be 20 quid I find in the street or something. Or I get a bonus in work, what we seem to do.
But I don't put that down to Friday the 13th.
No, it's
positive or negative impacts.
Random, isn't it?
It's just a random happening. And if you, I firmly believe that if you project a thought out into the universe and we can you attract what you give out.
Yeah.
So if you give out misery and hate and negativity, that's what you get back.
At you.
So if you give out positivity, and if you go, wow, Friday the 13th around, I'm usually fucking lucky on Friday the 13th, chances are something's good's gonna happen. In some way, shape or form.
Oh, you know, it's strong. Now, I wouldn't be like a mad, really strong believer in the likes of The Secret, you know, that,
you know what? The
power of attraction and all that stuff.
Well, you see, that's what you're doing.
And I know people that have gone all in on.
You're attracting positivity. So it is the power of attraction. But The Secret is just her
take on
gimmick.
Yeah.
To make money.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's what it was. And at the end of the book, I read it and I went, fucker didn't tell me what The Secret was. And
I never even got to the end of it.
You know, and I read a book years ago called The Celestine Prophecy, which people probably realise.
Yeah,
I read the end of that and I was like, that's actually really good. It's a blueprint for life. It's about living positively, not negatively.
Is it?
No, I can't remember the fucker's name. I don't know. But anyway.
Definitely have it.
But I was like, that's a really good blueprint for life. And then 6 months later, they released the 10th prophecy. And I was like, oh, you know, fuck off. Here we go see it's the add-on. Yeah. So it's like,
the sequel to the sequel to the sequel. Yeah. Or the revised edition.
Yeah. So it's the whole, you know, I do believe in positivity and living positively and as opposed to negatively.
And like for your own bloody well-being.
For your own mental health.
Yeah.
But somebody else making a book on the positivity and negativity of others, I have a problem with.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be my problem. Yeah. But anyway, I want to go back to this. Internationally, the number 13, and this is what you were saying earlier on, internationally, the number 13 is so widely and irrationally feared that hotels skip the 13th floor and go straight to 14.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And
bizarre.
Maybe the architects are superstitious, but possibly not.
No,
maybe the people who've commissioned the building of the hotel aren't.
It's mostly guests.
But it's guests that come in and we've got you on the 13th floor. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Yeah. But it's still the 13th floor. You know, it's just called the 14th. But it's still the fucking 13th floor.
It's nuts.
It is. It's mad.
Well, I'll give you one now. Actually, just funny you say that, the kind of irrationality of it. When my young fella was playing for Bowes, well, he still is playing for Bowes, but in one of his first matches, he pulled the number 13 short out of the bag on the match day. And the coach says, if you want to put that one back, you can. I was like looking at him because Darwin wouldn't be brought up in any ways under superstitions. Like, you know, he's looking at him and he goes, well, it's supposed to be unlucky. He goes, I'll put it on. He scored his first goal for Bowes that day.
It's supposed to be unlucky. And I'm not saying that's a bad coach, but that's...
No, it wasn't.
No, I know, but that's an adult
Yeah.
who's superstitious, saying it's supposed to be unlucky.
Yeah,
it's just fucking weird.
Yeah, so
I wonder.
So
I wonder
puts
how
on
many.
the number 13 anyway, and he scores his first goal.
Yeah, bring.
And he's worn number 13 since.
Well done,
So
lad.
there you go.
I wonder how many superstitions will exist after Gen Z has gotten through with them, because
like everything, isn't it?
they don't take bullshit and fucking anything. I love that generation. They're deadly. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean there's so many of the, like, okay, it's always nice to have the old traditions as well, of course. You know, so many of the bad ones are being left in the past, and that's where they belong.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely.
Well, the only good ones that we've spoken about so far are the knock on wood.
Yeah. No,
for,
I mean
for me.
in general, not just superstitions.
Yeah,
I'm talking about in general.
Gen Z is just kind of they're
the next evolution,
filter
nearly.
of everything that bullshit that's been, and just can't get through from the past. And they just fucking...
it just goes to show, though. I mean, like they talk about the age of enlightenment back in the, whenever the information age, the access to information has completely and utterly changed the human species. You know, free access to information to actually be able to ask questions and answer them. Now, it's not all good either. I mean,
I'm thinking of things like I'm thinking of the videos I saw of the kid doing his sums from primary school saying, Alexa, what's 12 plus 5? And Alexa telling him, I'm like, how is that beneficial?
Well, it isn't. I mean, do we need to learn how to write in calligraphy now?
No, but
because
it's the love of. But it's a love of doing it.
Yeah,
like
okay,
that's something different. That's a creative, artistic thing that you want to do.
Yeah, but that was how people wrote back then. That's why they learned it. That was how they wrote back then.
I guarantee it wasn't how they all wrote.
Yeah, okay, maybe so. Maybe
if they could.
Okay, maybe that was a bad example, but I'm sure even our parents would have learned stuff in school that is completely irrelevant.
My dad used to tell me he learned Latin. And I was actually working with a guy last week who learned Latin, but he learned Latin and he could speak Latin.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him last week and I was like, say something. And he might have been saying, shut the fuck up, you idiot. Yeah. And he said something in Latin.
It's nice to be able to do something like that, but it is completely irrelevant.
I don't know if it's irrelevant because, like, for starters, when you're in school teaches you, gets you ready to be able to learn.
Yes, yeah.
It prepares you to educate yourself.
Valuable learning in some way. I understand what you mean by that.
So that's where I'm at.
But no, what I'm trying to say is we're losing, not losing, but even what you call a cursive, right? Which is your kind of joined up handwriting.
Yeah, joined up handwriting, a script.
Yeah, right. As the kids call it, joined up handwriting, right? Our kids' school is still teaching that. It's been dropped by most other schools to the extent that when they issued the book list last year, right?
Yeah.
And we all went to buy the cursive handbook. It's obsolete. It's no longer the school weren't even aware of that.
Right, yeah.
It's
just been deleted.
It just doesn't exist anymore, that book. You know, now she was able to source it from somewhere, but it wasn't from the publisher.
What's your handwriting like?
There it is in front of you. It's dreadful.
Mine is. I'm like a monkey with a crayon.
Yeah,
it's fucking
awful
awful.
Handwriting.
Yeah,
always
brutal.
Have. My kids the same. But you look at that. I've handwritten notes for this show. This is probably the first time I've written in 5 years. No, I'm serious. Everything is typed or notes on my phone or.
Yeah, well that's it. Or
paper.
dictations. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Don't need paper and pen anymore, and it's better for the environment as well. But I know people will argue, that the lost art of handwriting and it's so important. Is it that important?
Yeah, I think it is.
It's a necessity. It's something that was created out of necessity, and it's no longer necessary.
I think
it's no longer needed. That's my.
I've always liked getting a letter. When I was I did my internship of animation in the mid-90s in California. I loved getting a letter.
Did you?
You get a phone call, who's on the phone to your ma, and you, fucking hell. But you can't wait to hear from her. And you talk to her for an hour. But I'd get a letter.
Yeah, see, then I've never been away from home, so that's different. Yeah,
you see. So I suppose, it's where you are. But it is.
Yeah,
but even from friends, I had a friend in college, and her sister used to write to me. and she'd give me the letters, and it was just letters telling you. It's like talking to a diary, except saying instead of saying dear diary, she was saying dear Dell.
How you dealt
You
with
know,
the story.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just letters, just chat. And I'd write back, but they were just the best again. And I had them for years.
I had a pen pal in Sweden when I was a very small child, and I wrote to him 3 times maybe, and he replied twice. That was the end of that. Yeah, it was just...
There you go. But you do.
I always remember him.
You hit a certain age, and you'll go,
him,
I'll write later, but I'm going out to play now. Yeah. And then it's gone. Yeah, so that's probably what happened.
We were only 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Jesus, but it was done through the school. You've probably done it in school as well.
No, we never had pen pals.
Did you not? Yeah,
never, ever. Any pen pals I ever had, I created with them, or they created with me.
No, they came into the school and they were a big box, or 2 big boxes, one for boys, one for girls. They were these like envelopes with red and blue kind of stripes around the edges, and you open them down, and it was a person's name and address, could be anywhere in the world, and you wrote to them. Now the idea was that you would get 2, because you would write to that person, somebody else around the world somewhere would write to you. Yeah. I only ever had Sven. Was it Sven? I just think it was Sven in Sweden. Was it?
Oh, here we go. Here's another fucking
accent.
No,
I'm just saying, was his name? I actually think it was. I know it's so stereotypical. Yeah. I'm sure his name actually was Sven. But I actually learned via that, because his address, that Sweden in Swedish is Sverige.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was his address, was, Sverige. Yeah. I was like, where's that? Well, yeah, it was Sweden. But so there you go. So that was me pen pal for about 3 months.
No, I wrote to this girl for years, and she wrote back, and I had them all. And in the course of moving house from here to across to Australia to fucking US or whatever, and you bring the stuff that means something to you, I lost them. Like they're gone. They exist somewhere, I'm sure.
I actually tell a lie. I had another pen pal, actually much more important pen pal. My granddad's brother emigrated to the States in the 20s. He married twice and had 19 children, I'm going to say. So I've got family all over New England. But anyway, his second wife, Irene, I think she had really bad COPD or whatever it was. She was on oxygen, on a mask, and confined to the house. I couldn't leave. I used to write to her when I was a child. And she used to write back, and she'd send gifts over and stuff. And then when she passed away, her son, Kevin, came over. And the stuff he brought me over, just as a thank you, for because she loved getting my letters. And I was only about 5 or 6.
But you see, that's not writing is not a lost art. It's not something that's unnecessary. I think it's something that's very necessary.
Yeah, okay, in that context, maybe. I'm thinking more like, taking notes in school and doing your homework by hand.
Oh, listen, I have a whole problem with the fucking industrial era
that's exactly what it is.
Like education, all that bullshit. But we'll get
it's
there.
It's not education, it's training people for factories. Let's be honest.
Yeah, as opposed to teaching people to prepare themselves to learn. Okay. The fair number 13. Ancient Sumerians thought number 12 was perfect. Fucking perfect. And it's still used today. We've got 24 hours in a day, and that's 2 12-hour halves. 12 hours a night, 12 hours a day. And I mean, it's much more fluid than that. And people even work through the night. So night is not for rest, blah, blah, blah. But it was 2 12-hour blocks.
I just have one question before you go any further. You said ancient Sumerians.
Yeah.
Are you a god?
Possibly.
Good answer. Not even going to explain that one. If people get it, they get it, or they don't, they don't.
But there's 12 months of the year. So they thought 12 was perfect. And they thought 12 was perfect, so 13 was imperfect. Right. I don't know why they picked on 13 and not 11. Maybe 11 was semi-perfect. Just about to be perfect.
Coming up
but we're beyond 12 now.
You've gone too far.
So that was it. In the Bible, Judas was the 13th person to arrive at the Last Supper. And he's the one that betrayed Christ.
That's because he was busy getting paid, wasn't he? That's why he was late for the Last Supper, wasn't it?
25 pieces of silver or something like that.
I don't know. He was collecting that, and that's why he was late.
Yeah,
I could be completely wrong, just made that up.
Well, they made it up in the Bible, so why not?
Exactly. So I think it's something like that. Anyway.
In Norse legend,
right.
Loki, the god of mischief,
the trickster,
and turmoil, and the trickster,
was
the 13th god to arrive at a dinner party in Valhalla.
That sounds familiar.
Isn't that really fucking familiar?
Party,
like the similarities are ridiculous.
I heard that somewhere before there, like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah. And instead of Loki, we were saying Judas.
That's the one.
Yeah, there you go.
There you are.
But ancient Egyptians considered the number 13 to be lucky.
Right.
So they're not unlucky with it. They're lucky. They consider it to be fortunate.
Don't the Japanese as well?
Yeah, I'll get there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
In Asia, the number 4 is thought to be unlucky.
That's right.
It's called tetraphobia. And in Chinese, it's very similar to death, apparently. I don't speak Chinese. But it's very similar to death. Which brings me back to 17. The Italians with fear of number 17, because that's I have lived or something, whatever it was they said.
Yeah.
They don't like the number 4 so much so that in 2010 the Beijing government stopped issuing license plates with the number 4 in them. And again, that wouldn't be the government saying, "Oh, I'm not doing that." Maybe it was, but it would have been people not wanting the license plate.
Yeah, not want to buy that car. Yeah. And it's not actually that I remember hearing something similar with the number 13 on our license plates.
That was the 131.
That's when they brought 131.
That's why 131. I think that's when that came in. Yeah. But another one, and the worst one I found, is black cats.
Right. Okay. I always wondered about black cats. Now, you might have an answer to this in doing your homework. Is it a black cat in itself that's unlucky, or is it a black cat crossing your path?
That will be answered.
Okay,
so black cats in Egypt again, cats, including black ones, were worshipped.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Killing a cat was considered to be a capital crime.
Yeah.
Like you would.
They were sacred animals.
Yeah,
the way
big
that
time. So much so that
cows are in India. They would have been very much.
They uncovered them in tombs.
Yeah.
In pharaohs' tombs and nobles' tombs and stuff.
And even statues of them. Yeah. There's a lot
paintings on walls and what have you.
They were mad for a cat.
So killing a cat was considered to be a capital crime. It wasn't until the Middle Ages that cats were associated with witches and considered to be bad luck. Okay? Yeah. Women, when they started getting persecuted by men, which, why not? It fucking just happens.
Yeah.
Were persecuted as witches. Right. And black cats were persecuted too by association. And it could be, some of it could stem from poor women, and they're more likely widows who have lost their husbands, and that means society just fucking chucks you into the gutter, and you've left to make your way. Would feed alley cats, not just black cats, but alley cats, and
for company.
The weak association with cats and witches just grew.
It's like the kind of
stronger.
Crazy cat lady thing.
Yeah, it just grew stronger. Yeah. So in the 1560s, so 1560s, so 16th century.
Yeah.
In Lincolnshire in the UK, a father and son, this is a report I read, right? This could have been written by somebody, but a father and son traveling on a moonless night. Right. So it was, it's fucking atmospheric.
Horse and carriage we're talking
here,
is it?
Atmospheric bullshit. Reported a black cat crossed their path and subsequently jumped onto the cart. Into a crawl space underneath it, which is bullshit, because if there's a rattling cart going down the road, anything in its way is fucking going to run, right?
Yeah.
But this cat jumped onto the cart, apparently.
Okay.
Naturally, they attacked it and they pelted it with stones. And I
don't get that way you're saying naturally. Why did they attack it?
Because they're fucking idiots. So what are you going to do when a cat jumps on your cart? You're going to pelt it with stones. Okay. So Yeah,
wouldn't
idiots.
be my go-to, but
No,
anyway,
it
yeah.
wouldn't be mine either. But fucking idiots.
Right,
But
okay.
they pelted it with rocks and chased it injured into an old woman's house.
Right.
The next day, and it probably wasn't the next day, but the next time they saw the old woman, she was limping, as old people sometimes do.
Yeah. And she was bruised.
And they went 2 and 2 is 5.
She turned into
She's a fucking cat. She's a witch. Yeah.
She's turned into a cat.
So that's where it came from.
Don't tell me they burned her at the stake, did they?
No, this was before the...
Oh, that's pre that.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
That was
1692,
1692-93 were the Salem witch trials.
I actually visited Salem back in 2000.
Was it good?
It was interesting enough. They showed us like the attic spaces.
Is there much to do?
It's not a lot.
Attic spaces?
Yeah, there was attic spaces in some of the houses where they hid witches. Right?
Okay,
Where they hid women who had been accused.
Yeah.
And very much like Anne Frank. That was the vibe I got, you know, that it was...
That's what I was thinking about.
It was, what's his name? Nathaniel Hawthorne, who wrote The Great Gatsby. Am I right in saying that?
I don't know.
It was his house. And they hid, over the years, they hid several women.
Yeah.
In this kind of, it's a tiny space, like a tiny space where they were hidden.
Yeah.
In it. But it's so tacky.
It's like Tucson. I was in Tucson with my brother, and
a touristy thing. Like,
it was
it was. Do a tour of the hearse. I think they actually banned that now. But when we were there, it was going around. You could actually do a tour. Like they put seats in the back of a hearse. You could tour Salem in a hearse.
It's all bullshit.
And it was close enough to Halloween that we were there. Like it was late September, but it was ramping up to Halloween for them. So it was just really tacky.
It is. It's horrible. Anyway, Salem, Massachusetts, in 1692 and 93 were the witch trials. Ironically, in Ireland, actually, don't let me say this first, one of the last women to be executed, burned at the stake as a witch in the Salem trials was for speaking in tongues. She was heard speaking in tongues, was speaking Irish.
Oh, no way.
And she was burned as a witch. Isn't that fucking disgraceful?
Horrible.
Now it's disgraceful that they
probably escaped bloody oppression here.
Yeah, just
to a new life
go
over there to be fucking burned for speaking our native tongue.
But it's disgraceful that it was a woman burned at stake because
for any reason,
that whole
for any reason,
patriarchal society bullshit, which I've gone on about before, and I'm sure I will again. Yeah. But ironically, in most of Ireland, black cats were good luck.
In Ireland?
Yep, and they're good luck in Japan too. A strange cat coming into your home is considered good fortune.
Yes.
If you think about it, it's just a cat going in somewhere that's dry, that's warm. You know, so fucking all this superstition bullshit.
Yeah.
Many still consider black cats to be bad luck. So much so that all other cats in the pound, black cats spend more time in a pound than any other cat. All other cats will be sold quicker than black cats will. Black cats are the last to be adopted and the first to be euthanized.
Jesus. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
So if you're out there and you're looking for a pet, adopt a fucking black cat.
I mean, look, I have your superstitions. I'm not going to deride anybody for believing in anything, but for fuck's sake, you know, cats getting killed, women getting bored at the fucking stake. I mean, okay, thankfully that doesn't happen anymore. But
people still getting fucking
people
lynched.
Are still being
people are still being assholes.
You know, if your superstition leads to somebody being oppressed or an animal being left on the scrap heap, I suppose, just stop.
Yeah.
You know, that fucking pisses me off. Anyway, go
on. Some superstitions though do make sense.
Right. Okay.
I found. Not walking on ladders.
Well, obviously you don't want that to fall on you.
Yeah, so the whole walking on the ladder, walk around that ladder. You just fucking common sense. Don't walk on the ladder in case someone up top drops something.
Yeah.
And even if there's no one up there, there's a chance it could knock something off the ledge.
Yeah.
You're just using your cop on by walking around it.
Exactly.
Not whistling in theatres. Okay. Now, I didn't know this one.
Yeah, no, I didn't know this one myself. Go on. Let's hear this one.
Stagehands. Like the guys working at the back, they used to work on a pulley system to lower the backdrops down or raise them.
Right, and they'd whistle when one was needed.
And they whistled instructions and could nearly converse with each other about what they had to do next through whistling.
Types of whistling.
And I saw a documentary once about somebody in Scandinavia, and I say Scandinavia because I can't remember the exact country it was, but they were whistling across a valley, and someone was whistling back.
Right.
And they were talking to each other through whistles.
Cool.
Best whistlers I've ever fucking seen. But it was incredible. But stagehands used a series of whistles to coordinate the raising and lowering of the backdrops.
Right.
And an errant whistle, like somebody from the audience whistling, just
could cause them to
might miscommunicate an instruction, and that could cause a problem. So
or an accident even.
Even now though, stagehands are mic'd up, and they can just press a button on their hip and talk, do this now, do that now, and everything works on an automated pulley system thereabouts. They still don't whistle. There's still the taboo of whistling in a theatre is still in place.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's excellent. Lighting 3 cigarettes from the same match.
You told me this one yesterday, and I actually...
This is brilliant.
It's so logical and it makes sense. And now that you mention it, I'm nearly sure I've seen this done in a movie.
I remember being, and you would have seen it in a movie. It would have been used.
I've seen this in a movie.
One of my friends, when I was in college, we'd all be standing around, and she'd be lighting cigarettes, and she'd light one, and she'd light the other, and she'd blow it out, and she'd light another one, and she'd light the third.
Right.
And you're like, what the fuck? And what are you doing? She goes, never ever light the third cigarette, and I never got it.
Off the same match,
and she never told me why.
Off the same match.
Yeah, she never told me why. And so you'd get your cigarette, and we never did. Like for years I didn't bother, but I looked it up one day.
Didn't know you smoked in college, did you?
All the time.
Did you?
Yeah. Not when I was up there.
In
the 90s.
Oh, back. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I knew you when we were in college together.
So I'm not even sure when I looked it up, but I remember reading it. But lighting 3 cigarettes from the one match in wartime, it'd be like if you were in the trench, and it's dark, and you light the cigarette. The first light catches the attention of the sniper in the other trench. The second light of the cigarette gives him his bearing on where to go, and he looks through the sight. And the third light is the shot. And so that's why they didn't light 3 cigarettes, which is, and I'm sure you have.
It's probably in 1917 or something, because I'm thinking World War I, trench warfare, I'm thinking, I'm sure
definitely not in 1917, but I have seen it before. No, it's not. But that's class. And you will see superstitions exist in everyday life. You'll see them every weekend in sports stars.
Oh, yeah.
Before they enter the pitch, and I'm not talking about the ones that pray to Allah or bless themselves coming on. Do what you want. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about hopping on their left foot twice as they go onto the pitch.
I think Ronaldo used to do that.
I can't remember, but I do remember one footballer doing it, and one footballer bending down and tugging the grass.
Yeah.
And sprinkling it maybe over one shoulder or something like that.
I've seen that a lot of times,
but you will get
John
that.
Terry used to put the jersey on in the tunnel.
There you go. Lucky boots, lucky socks, lucky jocks maybe.
Yeah.
Lucky bats.
I have my lucky jersey for match time.
There you go. Everyone has it. So lucky bats, lucky hats, headbands, wristbands. There's everything like what's his name? Duncan Ferguson.
Yeah.
Everton used to have his wristbands.
Right.
And it wasn't a hard, fast superstition that he had, because he used to give the wristband to somebody in the crowd, usually a kid.
Okay.
But he'd have one the next...
Yeah, so he'd always have one.
He'd always have one the next time.
But it didn't have to be the same one. It was just a wristband.
That's what I mean. It wasn't hard and fast. But he used to do that.
Yeah.
So that was...
Well, I know, there was one actually that's... I think I'm open to correction on this, but I think it was started by the Boston Red Sox in the year when they were looking like they were going to finally... And here's another superstition, the Bambino course. You ever heard of that?
No.
The Boston Red Sox sold Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees, which would be like essentially Liverpool selling Kenny Dalglish to Everton, right? And they went 83 years without winning a World Series, right? They called it the course of the Bambino, right? When it looked almost certain that the Sox were finally going to break the course and win the World Series, none of their players shaved for the whole season.
Crazy.
Right? They all had mad beards, right? At the end of the season. The New England Patriots done the same thing a couple of years later, and they went all the way to the Super Bowl.
But you see, that's just a...
Now the Boston Celtics are one series away from the finals. I ain't shaving. I haven't shaved all season, and I'm not shaving.
That's just
It's nuts, isn't it?
That's a
nuts.
mindset.
Yeah.
Some people rub a lucky rabbit's foot on their keyring.
I have heard the explanation for that, and I can't bloody remember. I know it's something grotesque though.
It wasn't fucking very lucky for the rabbit.
No, exactly. Well, no, there's some grotesque. I can't remember. Might be worth looking up, guys, if you're listening. Just, I can't remember it, but I'll probably walk out of here now in 10 minutes and remember it. But
that's it. Yeah, text it to me, and I'm not going to do anything with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so superstitions. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. They're not worth that. And you believe in more of them than you think you do.
Yeah,
and you know more of them than you think you do.
You asked me at the start of this podcast, was I superstitious? And I said no. I just realised I am.
I've just realised.
More than I ever realised I am, yeah.
I've just realised that. No, I am not superstitious. But I absolutely do subscribe to the pagan one of knocking on wood.
Yeah.
Yep. See you next time.